was so easily that time. Boom. I feel like I have to sneeze. Okay. All right. All right. If it comes later, it comes. Good morning. Good morning, Sicknick. Welcome back. Hello, Cloudless. Hello, Cyber. Welcome to Morning Medley number 238, I believe. 238. 238. Um. Mm, my battery died last night. And so this morning somehow it miraculously worked, but I drove my car to the store because I was out of apple juice, and then, which I said I wouldn't do anyways. I don't know. I'm having some weird car issues, and this shirt is far too small for me. And I think this will be the last time I wear it. If there's anybody that enjoys this shirt, that enjoys gorillas, please drink it in, because this is the last time I will wear this freaking baby onesie of a t-shirt. Good morning, Crow. I hope everything is going well for you. I'm going to go ahead and kick off the medley with Union Station. I don't really play that anymore. Oh, we're just busy on Friday or what? Sure, Crow. Erwin was busy during the Friday stream, all 6 hours of it, playing a game called Genshin Impact. Um, I hope you had a good time, Erwin, and thank you for making it to this Wednesday stream. There will be no production here. Good morning, kid. But I'm glad that you're playing a new game that you enjoy. It is a pretty good game, isn't it? Hmm. I once tried to learn the flute part in Bon Bon. But there's some parts that are so hard, can't even play it at full speed on sax. Well, that's fair. I mean, I technically never played that song at full speed. When I made it, I did not play it at full speed. It was all made with a mouse. I only had to learn the chords and the melodies from it way later when I was starting to perform it live. It was like, hmm. Wow. I don't play this song anymore. Anyways, yeah, that song wasn't made. That sounds like a lot of work. Says this. Oh my god, 407 sound clips. Um, Goodness, that's a lot. That's a lot, Crow. Hmm. Goodbye, Sick Nick. I hope you enjoy the rest of your stream or day. Oh man. Hmm, hmm, hmm. Oh, is the stream crackly? Um. I'm sorry. I don't. That happened a few streams ago where somebody said the stream was really crackly, and I feel like I didn't really do anything differently. I don't know what made it that way. Cloudless is asking a production question. Cloudless asks, do you get your certain example kicks from other songs and modify them, or would you create them yourself? I've spoken in the past about how pretty early on in my production of house music, like in 2003, 2000, I'm sorry, whoa, what the heck? 2013, 2014, 2000, anyways, 2013, 2014, the way I got a kick that I used in like 4 or 5 songs was from a Calvin Harris song. Nowadays, I don't do that anymore, right? Nowadays, I know a little bit more about drum programming, but when I was first starting out, yeah, I would just take drum samples where I could get them, and sometimes when there was house songs, that had really extended drum intros. You know, those are just drums sitting there, and so I would use those. Sometimes completely unchanged because I just didn't know how to change the drum sound. Now I do a lot of altering to the drum sounds to make them my own, but I would say the answer to that question is both. But if we're talking about current time only, then I'm doing my own stuff. I'm not just taking them from somebody else's song. Diz, you're talking about VTubers, and you're asking what's the deal with that? Are you saying what Japanese businessman came up with that? I don't know who came up with it, but I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. It makes sense to me. Like, it's like I feel like it's just another step in like everybody wanting to create an avatar. Think about people that have like anime Twitter icons, right? It's like one school of thought is why isn't this a photo of you? Like, why is your profile picture that of a Honda Civic? Why is your profile picture um, some like furry art that you commissioned somebody to do for you? It's like, well, because people like to have an avatar on things, a representative logo that they're like, this represents me to some degree. And so a VTuber is just a moving version of that, I suppose. It's like a more adaptable version of that, maybe. All speculative here, but that's seems like what it is to me. What VST plugins do you use in most of your songs? Erwin, that's more a question that you just got to come to a Friday stream. I'm sorry. You gotta come to a Friday stream because I would love to answer that, and I would love to show you while I'm answering it. I don't just want to rattle off a bunch of names of random stuff that you may or might not know of. If you can make it to a Freddy stream, even if you could like somehow like play Genshin Impact in the background and then like or just pause Genshin Impact for like 15 minutes, pop into the any time in the 6 hour stream and just ask that question, I would love to indulge you in that because um, because it really depends, right? It really depends on what song you're talking about, what sound you're talking about. It seems like a very simple and easy question, but it's not. It's not. It's way more complicated. It's way more. It's like somebody asking me like how I make drums. Like I can kind of try to explain it, but it's so much easier when like instead of looking at me right now, you're looking at FL Studio, and I can just show you images. You can even screen cap it and be like, I'll look this up later, you know. Is Bonbon 95? That feels too slow. Bonbon is 140 BPM. Oh, is it 128? All of Nice Dream is at 140 except for the song. Um, Downtown Drizzle. I bummed myself out yesterday, guys. um, Skipping that question. Going to cloudless's comment. Oh no! What? Hold on. Let me. Yeah, Cyber has it right. That you, the person you have just named Crow, is a musician. Well, I don't know. I don't know why you're asking me that. Maybe I don't know why you're asking me that, but there's not much more I can say about this person you have mentioned in my stream because I do not want to right now. Maybe ever. Maybe ever. But Cyber answered the question. Play some Prince, haha, in all caps. Hey, what's up, Losco Projects Podcast? Oh, you're a podcast? Welcome. This is kind of a podcast. How are you doing? You like Prince, huh? Yeah, I figured. Crow was digging into Love Dream. You know, I told people to listen to Love Dream a lot, Crow, right when I get to the end of the stream. And I think most people don't because because nobody ever asked me that question, or nobody really talks about like, yo, Omni, who's Colada? Who are you? Who's a Space Girl Jimmy? Nobody's asking me about that because people just don't listen to that album. So first of all, Crow, thank you so much for listening to Love Dream. I do appreciate it a lot. Um, there are a few people. I'm Steve Lee's friend, says Losco Project. Hey, I'm also Steve Lee's friend. That's cool. A friend of a friend is my friend, right? Crow, there are quite a few people on older tracks of mine that are just musicians, right? If you say who's Colada, I can say to you confidently, Colada is a female musician and singer and lyricist, and she's amazing. I don't know if she's active. It's really all I can say. I don't really talk to any of those people anymore. The only person off of Love Dream that I still talk to is Ehi, because me and him like still do stuff. Thank you again, though, Crow, for listening to Love Dream. I really appreciate that. I feel like if I was going to release something called Pizza Dream Cloudless, it probably would have come out in 2016. I think I missed the boat on Pizza Dream. I can't just keep playing the same thing in different keys. Okay, Wasco says Glove Dreams. Probably not, but I do appreciate that suggestion. It feels well informed. Mommy, who's my real daddy? Like finding out Santa Claus wasn't real. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Crow. I love Crow. I love Crow, and I feel like so many times in these streams, somebody asks or says a very beautiful, innocuous, curious, sometimes loving thing, but there's underlying context that that person doesn't know about their own question or comment, and it forces me to navigate a very sticky situation. Um, yeah. I don't know why I like going through your old Instagram videos, watching you play the MIDI fighter in the dark is so satisfying. Oh, thanks, Cloudless. Yeah, I don't make those videos anymore, huh? One of the biggest reasons why I made those videos, because I was actually learning how to play the MIDI fighter. Those were kind of like exercises for me. I just kind of stopped making them once I knew how to play the MIDI fighter. Isn't that weird? Like once I knew what I was doing with the MIDI fighter, it was no longer. I felt like I no longer needed to make those exercise videos, but maybe I'll return to them one day. It's interesting. There's so many things that I've started, gotten good at, and then abandoned that it's hard not to feel like some like form of a quitter when that happens to you. You're right. It is. Process Omni. And Amnesia is streaming about you a cow now. Oh, I was just insulting somebody, Crow. When I was a kid, I used to call people cows because cows like. There's a lot of insults in cow. There's a lot of insults in calling someone a cow. I don't know if there's any compliments actually in referring to somebody as a cow, but yeah, Crow is right. Crow came to play. Crow came to play today. I appreciate it. I'll play ball. Yeah, it was an insult. Crow, it definitely wasn't a compliment. That's not a very happy song. I don't know if you heard any of the lyrics that are sandwiching the cow bar. The cow line, it's preceded by a lot of words, and then it's actually proceeded by a lot of words. So, all in context of the song, yeah. Everyone says, yeah, it's pretty sad. I don't know. I don't know if Crow heard the rest of it. But yeah, that song's I did have a whole breakdown where I talked about that song and I talked about the headspace that I was in and like what it means, stuff like that. But I can't do that every stream. I can't make every stream a bummer by talking about amnesia. But yeah, I was an insult, Crow. Claudia says, never really seen something like that until I found you. I think Sean Wasabi probably is maybe the most famous person for MIDI fighting videos. I don't know if you've seen any of his videos, but he does make a lot of them. His are way more intricate than mine because my MIDI fighter videos were one, me learning how to play it, and usually they're supplementary. Like if you look at a lot of my videos, there will be a MIDI fighter section in an overall vast video with a lot of keyboards work and stuff like that and drum pad work. But Sean, admittedly, the MIDI fighter is kind of his thing. So, I don't know if you've seen Sean videos. I guess check him out. He definitely doesn't need promotion from me, but if you don't know who he is, you might find his videos very cool. Maybe a cow compliment could be, you provide nourishment for many people. For sure, absolutely, Crow. But that is not what I was saying about this person. Oh, sorry, it was Diz. Diz, that is not what I was saying about this person, but I appreciate you for coming up with a cow compliment. That could work. Or just saying that somebody is crucial, necessary. Crow says the beat is whack, but the lyrics are fire. It's really funny. You know why that's funny, Crow? Because the lyrics were added last minute to that song. The chords for that song, I have this thing where I know that a lot of times in music, right, especially music with lyrics, Crow, you can go dope lyrics, dope beat. When I say dope, I mean interesting, engaging. You know, some lyrics I'm not very engaged in. In a more recent stream, I talked about Tisa Korean. Love Tisa Korean. I talked about how much, that's a homie. But I wouldn't necessarily call Tisa Korean's lyrics as engaging as maybe I would say, trying not to say Kendrick Lamar, but who cares? I'm just going to say Kendrick Lamar. Kendrick Lamar has very engaging lyrics. When you hear Kendrick Lamar speak, you want to figure out what he's talking about and listen to what he has to say. Same thing with beats, right? If you think about beats or backing tracks, sometimes it's just something. If you think about like a lot of times Drake beats are like that. More recently, not older Drake beats, but more modern Drake beats are kind of like, I don't really care what's happening in them. A lot of times they're pretty basic, whatever. Here's a sample, I get it. A lot of newer Kanye beats are also like that. Definitely not referring to the older stuff, where it's just kind of like, this thing is here to support the lyrics, which are the guts of the song. And for a long time, I thought of the relationship between lyricism and the music as being completely unrelated, not necessarily depending on each other. Just two things that could make a song good. If they're both good, great. If they're both bad, not great. If one of them is good, cool, adequate, you've passed. But there's this whole thought curl around directing an audience. You know, have you ever like taken an art history course or you've done like art appreciation, and they talk about how the painter directs the viewer this way, like just by perspective, how they will have, oh, the eyes are drawn to the center. This is the focal point of the piece. There's all kinds of tricks that you can do in painting to kind of like maybe not force, but suggest the viewer's eye travels in this path throughout the painting. And you can kind of tell a story that way, like kind of like how people will read from left to right, you know, here in the U.S. and other cultures, not necessarily. Some are, you know, up to down, down, up, right, left. But you can direct a whole narrative depending on where you're having the focal point be. And if I did Amnesia on top of like this really cool Bon Bon-esque song structure that was very engaging, and it's like telling people, hey, look at here, there's a solo happening, or like, look, hear all these layers and strings. It would be, um, it would be a disservice, I think, to the lyrics. So you saying that the beat is whack and the lyrics are fire could be taken as an insult, but it essentially is an intentional thing that was like, maybe if the beat wasn't quote unquote whack, you wouldn't actually think the lyrics were fire. Maybe you wouldn't even notice the lyrics. Maybe you wouldn't have paid that much attention to that cow line. Maybe you wouldn't have paid a lot of attention to it, because Crow, I have a lot of lyrics and a lot of songs, and you know what people always come to the streams asking about the lyrics of? The songs with really basic backing music. A lot of my songs that have lyrics, but the music is also pretty complicated and immersive. People don't really ask about those lyrics because I honestly think people just don't hear them. People don't focus on them because the ear is not drawn to them. The ear is drawn to, like, if you think about the song Closed Down, there's so much happening in Closed Down. No one really talks about the lyrics of Closed Down, which is equally as, if not more sad than Amnesia is. So, trivial information about music production, I suppose. Anyways, Cloudless says Boba Dream. Sean never got his stuff back, huh? Yeah, when somebody stole the mini fighter, that was never returned. That's essentially farming in a nutshell, says Diz. Oh. You guys know any jobs I can get after I graduate high school? I'm kind of scared money-wise for my future. Erwin, I'm also scared money-wise for my future. I think a lot of people are right now. As far as jobs you can get after high school, my job during high school was a bag boy at a grocery store. My job after high school was working at a Walgreens pharmacy. So if those things are hiring, I would recommend those, but maybe you don't want to do those. I don't know. I don't know. I want to do boba jobs, says Cloudless. Ah, yes. We have a recurring theme. You did mention this last stream. You wanted to work at a boba place. Hmm. Ramsey? Ramsey? Rema says to Erwin, who's looking for a job after high school, that being an entrepreneur sounds fun. Or you can work at a boba shop. This is great. Yes, Erwin, I'm going to have to endorse this comment. Being an entrepreneur sounds fun. Or you can work at a boba shop. Why not both? Start your own boba shop. Then you can do both things. Hey man, as long as the job is easy and pays well, says Erwin. All jobs are easy if you can turn your brain off, I guess. What was the cheapest MIDI keyboard you bought? Says Cloudless. Talking about the finances. Cloudless is getting into the finances. Well, Cloudless, if we're being real, I don't own a MIDI keyboard. I I have never owned a MIDI keyboard. I buy keyboards for sure. Hey, what's up, Jaime? I buy synthesizers, right? I buy like this. Imagine this keyboard, Cloudless. You seen this keyboard? I know you can't see the bottom. This keyboard is very heavy. It's not a keyboard you can just pick up and take around. It's connected to the legs. This is like the footboard of my bed. And it weighs like, I don't know, like a clean 60, 70 pounds. It's pretty heavy. Is this a MIDI keyboard? No. I'm playing it right now. It's not. It doesn't need to be plugged in MIDI, but it does have a MIDI port on it, so I can plug it into my computer and use it as a MIDI keyboard. Same thing with my Yamaha Reface. I have that plugged in my. If you've been in my streams, you've seen me use it to play strings. It's because I have it hooked in via MIDI, but it's a synthesizer. Like I can unplug it and it still plays like a Rhodes piano. I just don't invest in MIDI keyboards. The only piece of MIDI gear I have is my MIDI Fighter, which I would not call a MIDI keyboard, and my Akai Fire, which is a drum sequencer and not a MIDI keyboard. I just have way too many keyboards to invest in a MIDI one, if that makes sense. However, if you're asking what the cheapest keyboard I have is, Free would be the cheapest one. But the cheapest one that I paid money for is $300. $300 is my cheapest keyboard. $299 is what I paid for that. And it was used. It was used, but all I had to do was it was like dirty. I said clean it up, so like that. Open the baby up. Move around some doohickeys. I'm scared of AI music, says Rem in so many words. Will they replace humanas? Ah, I love Rem. Do you still use it today, says Cloudless. I use everything today. It's my microcore. That's my, like, when you see me in streams do vocoding, that's the keyboard I'm using. That's the cheapest keyboard I own. Because I bought it used from Seattle. Or like Spokane. I don't know, some city in Washington. Who cares? Rem clarifies and says, what I mean is, AI is a stronger, faster, smarter version of a humano. Yes. Appreciating the Gorillas tea. They've been killing it on their Song Machine project. I hate this shirt. Thank you, Jaime. I appreciate that. This shirt's too small, and it always feels like I'm being hugged a little bit too tight when I wear it. Can you play the Rose from Dreams Come True? I don't think I can, actually. How does that song even start? Hold on. Where's my mouse? Why is everything falling apart? Making my dreams come true. Baby, it's all I do. Baby, it's all I do. Trying to make dreams come true. Maybe find Dang, I was using that keyboard? Why do I do that? No, it's not. Why was I playing it in that order? on. I will try to figure this out for you. What the heck is that? That can't be right. That can't be right. I refuse to believe that. Sorry, guys, I can't see the chat. It'll be just a few seconds more. Yeah, what was I doing? That's the chord. Oh, this is fun. Who wanted this? Who's asking for this? Um. Oh my god, I feel that the same about my plastic beach air tees. Ooh my god, I feel you. Sentient robots is mostly science fiction, says this. This is, or at least not going to happen for a long time. Rem says, yeah, but they gotta be so complicated that they develop their own conscious. Rem is talking mostly about AI and art, or at least that's where Rem started. I will say, Rem, yeah, there's AI music, absolutely. There's AI generated everything. But I don't think that AI music will ever completely replace human music. I think that it's in the same way that anytime there's like new technology, especially new technology that's a little scary or weird, people usually jump to it replacing something. But look at us. Rim, look at us. Look where we are. Look what I'm wearing on my face. Remember when LASIK came in and people were like, that's it for glasses? It's donezo for glasses, baby. Corrective lenses are out of here. People are just going to have 20/20 vision everywhere. Look at us. Come on. We're still putting dinosaur bones in our cars right now. Like, I don't think that AI music is gonna replace us as far as artists anytime soon. There's always gonna be human artists, and there's always gonna be people that want to hear artists that are human, you know. But I hear what you're saying though. AI can be scary for sure, right? What's an algorithm? Reviewing your old vids makes yeah. I think Crow. I think because a lot of those quarantine videos, what a lot of people don't realize about quarantine, it's a really important thing about quarantine, guys. Those videos were coming out once a week, right? Which means that I was writing those songs in maybe 2 days, and then shooting and editing a video in about 2 days also, because I wouldn't do any work on the weekends. So once I put out the song, instead of continuing to play the song in streams and mess around, I would immediately get to work on the next quarantine. So a lot of quarantines I just don't know how to play because I made them in 2 days, put together the video, posted it on Instagram, and then I just got to work on the next one. Like, I don't remember what I was playing half the time. It was just me trying to like push out tunes. And so yeah, that does sound like something that I play though. Trying to make dreams come true. Baby, it's all I do. I did a little like. If I unmuted the video, I'd be able to figure it out really quick. But I'm watching the video on mute because I don't want people to hear it. I don't want people to hear this horrible song. Oh yeah, then I started chopping it up. Oh, screw this song. Oh my god. Yeah, no, screw that. I'm sorry. Who wanted this? Who wanted this? Who wanted this song? you, you need soul to play most instruments, especially sax, says Erwin. Hey, I have no souls. Erwin, you do not need soul to play an instrument. I think you need soul to play an instrument soulfully. I am not saying that you're wrong, Erwin. I'm saying you're right. I'm just saying that it's almost like saying that you need skill or heart to play piano. And the fact of the matter is, like, you can plug in notes and you can, like, set the velocity. You can, like, study velocity and set the velocity for notes so they do sound like they were played by a human, when in actuality the notes were picked out by a robot. And you, Erwin, or me would be able to tell the difference and go like, it doesn't have that humanity in it though. Like it doesn't have heart, doesn't have soul, doesn't have emotion. We would be able to hear the difference in that. But there's plenty of people that are like listening to like Chainsmokers or something like that that are just like, sick new song, Robo Rob. Oh, never mind. Robo Rob's a real person. I was trying to come up with a generic name for a robot, and I actually named a real artist. Anyways, yeah, it could be a real thing. It could be a real thing. It just wouldn't be soulful. You're absolutely right, Erwin. Why is Trash Man here? It's Wednesday, bro. What the heck is going on? You can emulate a soulful sound, says Diz. Absolutely. Liana says good morning. Good morning, Liana. Morning. Money Talks on Roads is also nice, says Crow. Aw. Crow, thanks for listening to my YouTube videos. You know, I like Crow. Crow asks the tough questions sometimes. Crow asks some hardballs, but does support the music, and I do appreciate that. Jevely says, do I smell a stream dedicated to releasing the Quarantunes? No, you don't, but you do smell a stream where we're discussing Quarantunes, apparently, which I'm always down for. Trashman wants to listen to the tunes coming out that window. Trashman doesn't like me. Well, Trashman loves me, but this isn't that Trashman. What happened, Cloudless? Why do you think I'm going to yell at you? Dang, I really don't be remembering those songs. I just be like cranking stuff out, guys. That's sad. Any artist who has like over 200 songs out, I pity them. I pity them because there are so many like actually pretty cool songs that I found in my career people will connect with that sometimes I don't even like remember making. You know, I don't like really remember what was going through my head. I was just like trying to put something out. And whatever arrangement of notes or chords I played managed to connect with somebody, and that's like really cool. It's really cool on the surface, but sometimes deep down it like makes me feel bad because I'm like, dang, I really wish I could just rattle it off and play it for you guys right now. Anyways, I got confused with MIDI keys and synthesizers. Oh no, it's fine, Cloudless. That's fine. I mean, people shouldn't just off the top of their head know the difference between a MIDI keyboard and a synthesizer and a normal keyboard and a digital piano and a Rhodes piano and a harpsichord. Like, they all have piano keys, I get it. So it's like, yeah, they're probably the same. Especially if you have it plugged into a computer, that's a MIDI keyboard. I get what you're saying. I'm just saying that I don't own a MIDI keyboard, so I didn't want to answer that question about, like, which one is the cheapest one. Because I think if I told you my cheapest MIDI keyboard was $300, you'd be like, yo, bro, you can definitely get them for like $40. Why'd you spend so much? So I just wanted to clarify that I don't actually have a traditional MIDI keyboard. Yeah, Diz, I was the real machine. Quarantines is canceled infinitely until further notice. Yeah, well, I would say indefinitely. Infinitely implies that even with further notice. But yes, Crow. Quarantines is canceled right now, or it's on hiatus. Quarantines is in quarantine. I do miss it though. You know, I never finished love letters. I was like messing around yesterday. I messaged a lot of my friends, you know. I messaged Annie. I messaged Olu Bliss. I messaged me Gladstone. Just seeing what everybody was up to, you know. This person's working on an album. This person's working on a music video. This person's just chilling and trying to enjoy their life. This person learned how to make sourdough bread. This, you know, just seeing what everybody was up to. And it filled me with so many. It filled me with so much conflicting emotions. Like if I talk to somebody that's doing a, if I talk to somebody that's kind of like me and is just trying to take things slow, it makes me feel like, okay, maybe I'm on the right path. But then I talk to some like musicians and artists, friends of mine, that are like extremely busy and they're just like, yeah, I just finished wrapping up at this music video. Now I got this going on. Like, Omni, why don't you have a team? Like, you need to be thinking about getting a team. Like, I just signed up here to like so and so, and like they've been like really doing a lot for me. Like, you need to think about getting a team. Do you have PR or anything like on the line to like work on your rollout when you come back? And I'm just like, what? Bro, what do you? No, I don't. I don't. It's just me. And I'm like, dang, you still do everything by yourself? It's been like 4 years, bro. I thought you would have had a team by now. And I'm like, nah, I don't. Nah, I don't have a team, man. Like, isn't there like an election in 4 weeks? Like, I'm not even thinking about like pushing out the album there. And it's like, ha ha ha, yeah, I feel you, bro. I feel you, bro. But like, you need to like get your money up. And I'm like, wow. It depends on who I talk to. Like my mood shifts pretty drastically. Made me think of team stuff. It's weird. I also thought about you want to talk about teams, y'all? You want to talk about teams? If you're doing something that is a very well defined path, it's easier to make a team. Never underestimate how weird you may or may not be. How do you start a team, says Erwin. Sometimes they can start organically. Sometimes it's a little bit more corporate and less organic, you know. You can just straight up hire somebody. You could hire like a videographer. Like if there's somebody that you know that makes videos, you can just be like, hey, I would like to have you as my primary personal video person. Like you can still work with other people, but I want you on all of my stuff. And then you give them, I want you on all of my stuff type money, and then they're on all your stuff. And then you do the same thing, you get PR. Like a lot of these things are pretty easy to come by. And it's not as easy as just getting on, you know, Twitter and typing in at PR person, but you can find these people to work with and for you. It's just, I think for me, sorry. Anyways, I just think for there are a lot of people who are doing something that maybe it doesn't make a lot of sense. It's easy, like if you're just like, yo, I'm like trying to be a dubstep person in the years 2010, 11. In the years 2011, it's pretty easy to build a team around a dubstep person. There are a lot of artists like Igloo Ghost or Thundercat, or, well, let me name somebody that's not on Brain Feeder. There's a lot of artists like Maxo or Divio, or I won't even include Absurdus in this. All respect to him, but I wouldn't necessarily include him. In the Blue Shirt, Day Mouse, there's a lot of artists that sound like these artists that are like just weird enough, or their path isn't super simple, where it's hard to get people invested in that thing. And when I say people invested, I don't mean fans. When I say people invested, I mean from a business standpoint. It's hard to get people invested. They're probably not going to put Igloo Ghost music in a Sprite commercial anytime soon. all love and respect to Igloo Ghost. I think it would be dope if Igloo Ghost was in a spray commercial, but let's, be reasonable. Judging off of the past, it's probably not going to happen anytime soon. But we could easily see somebody like Skylar Spence maybe in like a commercial. It's just like certain people are maybe a little bit more easily marketable. And if you're not as easy to market, it's hard to build a team. Or harder, I should say. It's more difficult to build a team. Somebody building a team around Billie Eilish is a lot easier than somebody building a team around Bjork. Even though we all know who Bjork is and we all know Bjork's huge, it's like one thing is a little bit harder to sell than the other. And I think when I was talking to a lot of my friends, I was seeing that discrepancy amongst them. I was seeing some people would be like, "Yeah, I just shot a video. Like, we got my stuff playlisted. Like, there's a lot of like good people like on board that really want to see me win." And that person would be like a friend of mine who is just like an R&B artist, and I don't mean that in any type of derogatory way. Just like, yeah, they're an R&B artist, so the spaces are already carved out. Like, we know exactly where we can put this music. There's literally playlists designed after what type of music you are, like official, corporate curated ones. And then I would look at somebody else that maybe sounds like Nelward, if you guys are familiar with Nelward, and it's like a little bit harder, right? It's a little bit harder for them to have the team that's like, we know exactly where your music's gonna go. It's like there's smaller spaces. It's like Adult Swim or Brain Feeder. And since there's only like a small space, that means only so many people can get in it. And if you aren't Lewis Cole or Thundercat or Flying Lotus or Dorian Concept, it's a little bit harder for you maybe. Um, yeah, and I just was thinking about that a lot yesterday, thinking about teams, thinking about paths artistically. Um, mm, mm, mm. How many player waltz into 23? What waltz? Are you talking about a specific song? Are you? What song? What song do you want to hear? To be honest, the pandemic. In a pandemic that sounds aggressive and kind of deaf to the situation at hand. Talking about being like super active, mad aggressive. I mean, yeah, but that's the music industry, right? Just mad aggressive and tone deaf at times. Yeah, I mean, I think it's like banks and stuff like that. I think honestly, anytime there's the word industry after something, I think that people in that industry are conditioned and taught, geared towards success, to like not to be tone deaf, but they're taught to be aggressive. Because if you chill, you just lose, kind of. You just kind of lose, and I don't know. Experiencing some of that, you kind of get it. I get it anyway. Even though I don't like it, for sure, I don't like it. But I also know that. Ooh, Crow did remember a good sound. That's 223. I think that it's pretty aggressive, but there have been times in my career, none that I'll mention specifically, but there have been times where I've like chilled because it was, due to my own mental health, or I was trying to give somebody else a break, or like I was trying to go about and be nice and like be very cognizant and sensitive to my surroundings and the people, and it cost me a lot. And I saw somebody right next to me that was a little bit more aggressive, a little bit less self-aware, and a little bit less forgiving. And now, we've talked about some of these people by name in the stream, so I won't name them now, but they're doing very, very well. And so it's like, I don't know. I feel like the industry kind of conditions you to be a little bit colder, and it rewards you for being that way. For example, oh, that's a really good, okay. This is going to be a fun conversation, actually, because this kind of ties into what I was talking about. Oh, that wasn't a waltz, Crow, but it should have been, right? That's the 5/4 version of Love Letters. I would love to see somebody try to waltz to that. That's funny. I feel it right in here in my left wrist for some reason. That specifically the 5/4 version of that song. Oh, I feel that right in here. It's weird. Anywho, so I was talking to somebody about Spotify. We all know Spotify. We hate Spotify here. We all hate it. A lot of us use it, myself included. I use it because PlayStation 4 won't allow me to use, I don't know, Tidal. Uh, I hate Spotify. We get it. We get it. Omni hates Spotify. Moving on. Point is, when you're an artist, and you have music on Spotify, this thing happens when you don't release music for a while. Your monthly listeners will decrease. And I think what a lot of artists have done is they've internalized this too. Oh, I'm losing fans, you know? I have less people listening to my music. You do have less people listening to your music, absolutely. But saying that you have less fans is kind of hard, right? Because it doesn't mean that each of those people individually is removing you from their listening patterns. You're being actively removed from their listening patterns by a third party. Basically, Spotify. What Spotify does. You guys know how I release music a lot? Of course you do. We just talked about how I had 200 songs out and how it means I can't remember most of them. When you release regularly, like I did, Spotify likes that. Spotify loves that. It's good for Spotify, right? Having more music means more money for Spotify. They can keep rotating stuff. It just generates more revenue, right? Having one song that makes $5,000, having one song that makes $5 million is not as valuable to Spotify as having 5 songs that make $1 million each. I could explain the logistics behind that, but I'm just going to take for granted that you guys understand why that is, for right now anyway. One $5 million song is not as good as 5 $1 million songs. So for Spotify, more songs the better. We would like to have more songs, generates more revenue, helps the algorithms and stuff like that. So if you don't release often, Spotify, by way of an algorithm, punishes artists who don't release often because you're not contributing to Spotify's growing web. So you're punished by them hiding you. They're like, this one isn't working. Get rid of it. It's like if you had a bunch of cows and you needed to milk them, and for some reason, if one cow wasn't producing as much milk, you would probably just kind of stop going to it for milk anymore. You'd be like, this one doesn't seem to produce it fast enough. We'll leave that cow alone, and we'll just kind of focus on these, these milk-producing cows. And then we'll check on, loser cow over there in like a week or so and see if they've got anything for us. That's kind of how Spotify treats artists. And so, a lot of time, if you don't release often, you will lose monthly listeners, engagement, whatever, fans, followers, placements, plays, streams. And Spotify has built a kind of model to make you, the artist, believe that this means your fans are leaving. You're being punished by your fans. They've removed themselves out. They're like, we're just a third party. We don't know why your fans are leaving. It must have something to do with you not releasing music in like 6 months. I'm sorry, bro. Sucks. But what can we do? You need to release more music. That's what Spotify typically does. And so it creates a weird dynamic where it feels like I'm up on stage playing music, and if I stop playing music for a little while, people are like, this sucks, bro. Let's get out of here. I hear they're playing music across the street, but that's actually not what happens. It's more so I'm playing music, and if I stop playing music for a little while, Spotify goes around in the crowd and starts putting earplugs in everybody's ears, slowly working their way through the crowd. And then when I start playing again, the crowd's still there, but only a few of them can hear me. And it's a weird form of punishment. And so I was talking to a lot of my friends, some of which are somewhat inactive right now in the quarantine. And it's like we're all looking at like Spotify like take us out of playlists and like diminish our like monthly listeners. And it's like, man, that kind of sucks because especially in a quarantine, like we would like to have that money, but we can't have it unless we're super active. And I think that a lot of artists are taught to blame fans for that. And I think in 2020, I'm almost officially done blaming fans for that, and I'm just placing all of that blame on DSPs. How often do you have to produce? How often do you have to produce as Cloudless? Will it have its own like schedule itself before it basically removes or hides you? I don't know the like specifics on if it's like, oh, after 5 days they take you out. I don't know what the logistics are on it, but I know what happens. Yeah, I don't have like all the facts and figures. Spotify and a lot of other DSPs are actually pretty like closeted about actual figures and stuff like that. For example, there's not even a solid number that you get paid for per stream. It actually fluctuates. It fluctuates. Isn't that weird? The value of music and how much a stream is worth isn't solid and concrete. It like moves around depending on like how many songs were played that week, like how many of your songs were played. It's weird. It's weird. But no, a lot of that information is um, intentionally kept hidden. Junk says, out of curiosity, what streaming platform would support you as an artist the most? Bandcamp. Right behind Bandcamp is Tidal, and then all the rest are like whatever. Spotify is actually one of the worst though. I think it's like the second to the worst as far as like payouts, but it is the biggest, so most people use it, which is fine. I don't blame anybody for using it, if especially if the thing is easy. You know, I don't want anybody to go out of their way just to make things easier for me for sure. But I think that Bandcamp is the best, obviously, because you're buying things. Tidal is the best streaming platform, and then after that, it's like whatever. Spotify thinks you lose your cow. Yes, I mean Spotify thinks all artists are cows. I mean that's just facts. I mean, didn't you see? No, maybe you didn't. I don't know. The Spotify CEO said some really wild stuff. Spotify thinks that all artists are cows. That's not me being like egregious or weird. That's how the Spotify CEO sees artists for sure. Don't bots abuse this by just putting out random garbage and then other bots that are fun to let main bot, play and repeat, and then generate income repeatedly. I mean, we can really we could get into stuff like that. We could get into how like there are bots. We could also get into how like every now and then my I guess I want to call it algorithmic relevancy is deteriorated by people uploading songs with my name on them. There's a whole thing like it happens like every couple of months. Somebody will just upload a song with my name on it. Upload a song and say it's by me. They'll upload a song and it'll pop up in my fans as like uh, release radar as like new Omni Boy, and it just gets that person free plays even though it's not a song that I made. And how Spotify makes it extremely hard to stop things from like that from happening. We could talk about how yeah, there are just bots doing things like that. We could also talk about how streaming farms are a thing. There's entire like warehouses with servers in them that just stream songs on loop nonstop to generate revenue. It's like printing money. It's literally a streaming farm where they have servers. Think about how like people would do with like Bitcoin, how they would like farm cryptocurrency. They would have servers set up in their house. People have that for streaming, where they'll just if they want to get a certain song a bunch of plays, like you can pay for a streaming farm. I don't know if something like that is legal, but I also kind of don't know how it's illegal. But I know it does exist. It's a thing that happens. Anyways, yeah, DSPs are pretty whack. It's a wild world out there, guys. But I talked to a lot of my friends yesterday, and that was the most social I've been in maybe 6 months. I went down the thread and just messaged almost everybody. I still need to message a few people today. I'm gonna message Mush, but I think I'm gonna message Fuge, talk to a few of them. But yeah, good morning, Theo. Welcome to the stream. It's fraud, says Diz. Ah, fraud, fraudulent. What is that? Hey, Omni, I was wondering how long did you stay in Japan when you went? Or am I confused with someone else? I like cloud. Which time, Cloudless? I've been several times. Um, don't be jealous, Cloudless. Don't be jealous. It's just a country. It's just a country. No, no, I've been several times. You're asking how long I stayed. I was there for a little over 2 weeks the first time. I was like 2.5 weeks. It was like 20 days. The second time I was there for, I think, only 1 week, actually. I think I was only there for 1 week. The second time was not great. The first time was amazing. The second time had its moments. The first time was amazing. The second time was amazing also, but not as amazing as the first time. Anyways, Cyrus Sazoni's actually went for the Japanese and visits the homeland and reconnect with his roots. If I was one for the Japanese, that would be fun. That was cool. I wish I was able to go, to be honest. I heard it's beautiful. Well, I mean, it's a whole country, so it depends, maybe, on where you are, where you go. I can honestly say, as somebody that has not been, coast to coast, top to tip of Japan, just in the three major cities I visited, which was Tokyo, Osaka, and Kyoto, I can honestly say those three cities were very different, and some I would say were not as beautiful as others. But definitely, if we open up, if Japan decides to open its borders and all the weebs everywhere will sigh a sigh of relief, you can go. I imagine that airlines are going to be so desperate for travel that tickets are still going to be pretty cheap. Like for the first few moments or first few months when borders are open to the U.S. again. So I would recommend it. I will say something to you, Cloudless. I will say something though. Have you ever been to Michigan? Says Cloudless. Cloudless. I went on tour to Michigan, 2017. So yes, I have been to Michigan. Also very beautiful. I mean, I thought Michigan was beautiful. It was a little cold for me, being a desert boy myself, but I was on tour in November, so yeah, like Michigan in November was a lot for me. And I know that's not as cold as it gets, but it was cold still, you know. Anywho, Costa Rica. Sorry about that. Okay, now, like, for whatever reason, my Google Assistant, like, started responding to me. I don't know. I moved to Utah 3 years ago. Utah's pretty cool. I bought my first longboard from Utah, and I still own it. Yo, that's sick. I've had a pretty dope life. I could die. I could die tomorrow. Anyways, what was I saying? Japan. Cities are different, right? Cities are different no matter where you go. When I was in high school, I remember looking up tickets to Japan, Cloudless, and the tickets were like $997, $1,275, like wild prices like that. And I remember thinking, I'll never be able to go. It'll take me months just to save up the cost of a plane ticket. Then I still have to think about hotels or hostels or whatever. I gotta think about food. I gotta think about if I want to go to any attractions or things while I'm there, bring any souvenirs back. I'm like, I can't. I will never be able to afford to go to this place. It is beyond my means financially. That's what I thought. I mean, it was true. It was true at the time. And then two things happened. The first thing that happened was Japan's economy didn't have a very good time. Does anybody remember that? Remember when Japan's economy like went like bonkers? Does anybody remember that? Does anybody pay attention to economics on that level, like on a global level? In like 2015, when everything was cheap. Yeah. Thanks, Leona. Claudia says, have you basically been all around the world by now, or at least America? I've been all around America. I haven't been to a state called Wyoming, assuming it actually exists, and I haven't been to a state called Tennessee. I've never been to Tennessee, and I've also never been to. There's quite a few places I haven't been to. I haven't been to Ohio. Um, I haven't been to. Hmm, crap. I guess I have been to a lot of them. Wow, I think there's like 5 or 6 states that I haven't been to. Tennessee is the home of music. That's surprising you haven't been. It is. It is America's musical heart. Yeehaw. Woohoo, music. It is. It is the home of some really great music. But, yeah, there just isn't really a place for me there, you know? I feel like, especially Nashville, if we're talking Tennessee, we're talking Nashville. Nashville's got a lot of. Nashville being the home of music and LA being the home of music business makes Nashville a little bit more particular. Austin's also this way, surprisingly enough, even with South by Southwest, makes it a little bit more particular about musicians. I think it's a little bit more of an elitist feel or zone. They have like real music. There's certain things that are only now becoming cool. And I take a lot of this from like people that I know that are from Nashville, i.e., somebody as talented as Melanie Faye being from Nashville speaks to Nashville being kind of that way. And it's like, dang, Nashville would have been maybe a little bit hard for a musician like me, but it is still surprising that I haven't gone, right? Because a lot of musicians I respect come from there. You know, a lot of sounds I respect come from there. I stayed at a hotel on Music Row, says Liana. Went for spring competition, that's dope. Hmm. Um, I was talking about something. Indigo Prophecy is getting a release on PS4, which means you can own every David Cage game on one system. Indigo Prophecy. Indigo Prophecy was so good. Nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants to talk about it, but I do. Indigo Prophecy had music by this band called Theory of a Dead Man, which is horrible music. But Indigo Prophecy, Indigo Prophecy just introduced me to what a game could be, and it sounds like a lot of really flowery, melodramatic stuff I'm saying about essentially what is just a game, but it changed games for me. It made it so that you didn't necessarily have to be good at gaming to play these very, very beautiful games. It's like Detroit. Just imagine a worse version of Detroit. When I say worse, I mean graphically less impressive. Not worse as far as story and writing, but pretty fine argument could be made that it also is not as well written as Detroit. But I digress. In the near future, do you plan on ever coming back to Utah for another tour, considering you have one? If I had one, I would love for my tour to go through Utah. I would love for my tour to go through every state, Cloudless, but it really depends on demand, right? If there isn't really demand for me in Utah, it's hard for me to go there. We were talking earlier, Cloudless, about teams, and something that you might notice is that artists that do not have a team have a little bit more of a sporadic and focused tour route. Artists that have a team, for example, when I was on the tour with Slow Magic, that was not my tour, that was Slow Magic's tour, and I was on it as direct support. Where were we going? Everywhere, right? Like, we went to Detroit. I was just talking about the Detroit show. We went to Detroit, we went to New York, we went to freaking Montreal, we went to Toronto. There was an Atlanta show, there was a Boston show, there was an LA show, there was a Seattle show, there was, you get the point. I'm not going to name all the stops on the tour, but went everywhere. Slow Magic had a team. Slow Magic had management. Slow Magic had a label. Slow Magic had PR. Slow Magic had A&R. Slow Magic had a booking agency. Slow Magic had a team. When somebody like me tours, I have to tour to places where there's demand, where they want me to play. And usually there has to be interest on both sides. There has to be interest on my side to play here, and there has to be interest on that side for people to, one, book me, and then pay tickets to come see the show. And if it ever at any point feels like there isn't cohesion there, where there's interest on both sides, people just won't book me for a show there. And I don't think it's anything personal. It's just good business, right? I get booked for shows in New York because I do have a fan base in New York, a pretty decent sized one. So when I play in New York, the shows do well. Where's a place I've played where the show didn't do very well? I think it just hasn't happened because they don't want me to play there. It's like they'll check the temperature. They're like, does anybody care about Omniboy here? And no one does. And they're like, oh, okay, I guess Omni can't play in Colorado, Colorado Springs, or I don't know. I guess he can't play here. Places that usually I end up playing, honestly, Cloudless end up being like your very typical big city. People care a lot about weirder music here. Get a lot of like Chicago, Detroit, New York, New Jersey, Boston, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Seattle. I get a lot of like Austin, Texas, a lot of those places. And there's a lot of really great cities outside of those that I would love to play. I would love to play... Where would I love to play? I would love to play Philadelphia. Well, I have played Philadelphia, but I would love to play it again. But it's a little harder to play there. It's harder. Anyways, hello, Badlands. Oh, Badlands is back. It's still a really wild time for you, I imagine. It's still the middle of the night. I do appreciate you for coming back. Is there anything you would like, Badlands? Is there anything you would like to hear? Anything you specifically would like to talk about or say? I know we're really putting you out having you in the stream at what I assume is like 2 a.m. or something. Hmm. Oh, that's sweet, Umbe. I do appreciate you for saying that. But yeah, touring in general without a team is, if I'm being transparent with you guys, one of the most stressful and annoying processes. I went on a tour in Japan, right? Since we were talking about Japan, I went on a tour in Japan in 2018. Guys, I started asking and begging and pleading and networking my butt off for those shows in 2016. If we're being really honest, late 2015. Because I was like talking to Maltini trying to get out there. So, doing all the work myself from 2015, I didn't even actually get to go until 2018. It took that much work just for me to get a Japan tour. Was it worth it? Yeah, I think it was worth it. But for somebody that has a team, like Slow Magic, when Slow Magic went on that tour, Slow Magic played in Tokyo, the same venue I played, and a few months' notice, whereas it took me a lot longer. And I think that doesn't have that much to do with relevance and growth and importance as an artist as much as it has to do with like having professionals on your side that literally are paid to get you in places. You know, something to think about. And so I do get a lot of like, oh my god, when are you gonna play in like Brazil? Like everybody gets the Brazil thing, but it's like, yo, when are you gonna play? I live in Arizona, where you're from. When are you gonna come back here and play? And it's like they don't want to see me in Arizona. I know you do, which is dope, but like the temperature's weird out there, literally and figuratively. But yeah, it would be cool to play in Utah again. Utah was nice, or at least my memory of Utah. It's so long ago. Utah's probably completely different now. Places get frozen in time in your memory a lot of the time, and it's not good. It's almost called clover salad. All I can smell is tea tree oil right now. That's so wild. Oh my god, I always go to that one note because of Witchy. Witchy's got me screwed up, guys. Oh. That was right. Close. Ah. Oh man, what? Okay, all right. Yeah, I'll come back to it. I'll come back to it. Whoa! Why is Rim singing Cold? Why is Rim singing my verse of Cold? You should be singing Sky's verse. No, that's not the right chord. No, that's not the right chord. Is that the right chord? Mm-hmm. 'Cause I don't know. 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 ' that? Like, when I'm cold. There it is. Yeah. Hey, I remembered it, Ram. When you're old. I do like that song. Rim, that it. Okay, so I sampled that song. Obviously, Rim. I'm assuming you've been in a production stream. You probably haven't, but the ending song of the production streams is a song called Skylark, which is just a sample of the bridge of that song. Ugh, I love that song. And I think I just like the way. So Sky. Oh, I hope Sky's not in the stream. I'm gonna start talking about Sky for a second. Um, if Sky joins the stream, somebody like yell or like yell. Somebody just like say add a bunch of caps. Sky Sky's a very classical musician, right? Very classical, very classy musician. She's classically trained. She can play piano. She plays with all the cool flourishy things. She plays guitar. She knows what's up here in the brain, in the mind, in the sky, in the mind. She knows Chopin. She's like, yo, you know Chopin? Frederick freaking Chopin, baby. Um, she's one of those. I am not that. We're like oil and freaking water, baby. Like, I'm like, oh, self-taught everything. What's this chord? Me, no, I don't care. Is this jazz? I don't know. Is this classical music? I don't know. I'm Chopin, baby. And I think when I hear Sky's voice, I hear it on classical type music. She would do like really good like Celtic woman type beat, you know? And I think Sky when Sky moved in, me and Sky used to have like these really funny like classical v jazz, not arguments, but conversations because obviously like when Sky moved in, I was listening to a lot of bebop jazz and Sky hated bebop jazz. I think still kind of does actually. I think she likes some other jazz. But when I would like be cooking breakfast for us in the morning, and it's like freaking, it's like she would like get a migraine. She just like, can you please turn that off? Can you stop, please, with the jazz? And I was like, oh, word, you hate bebop jazz. That's interesting. And there's a very specific part in the bridge of Cold where I'm playing a very beboppy like swing rhythm. I was doing that, and Sky sang over it. Sky just like improved a melody over it, and I was so afraid that if I told her it was jazz, she would erase it, or she would be like, "Oh, I don't want to do this anymore." But in my head, I was like, "This is jazz. I don't know what you think is happening right now, but that's jazz." So for my Less Dream mixtape, I took the bridge of it and I chopped it up and made like a little like cool, chill beats, loungy, fun sample based thing, and she listened to it and she was like, "Oh, this is cool." And it's the outro of every single production stream. At the end of the production stream, I play Skylark, which is named after her, obviously. And I so badly want to work with her again, but I want to make it very overtly jazzy and see how she reacts to it. I want to like I want to I'm not trying to like bait and switch or trick her or anything. I just want to like be like, all right, we're making another song, and then just like play a bunch of like. I want to do some of those chords and see like what she does over them. I want to see if she goes like, "Yo, these chords suck. They don't. I can't follow them." Or if she just like makes it work, and then I make a song out of it again. I'm like, "You're a jazz artist now. Ha ha ha. Trapped you." But anyhow, no. I mean, jazz is whatever. I try not to get in too many arguments or discussions about what jazz is, especially with jazz musicians. The only reason I feel comfortable having the conversations like that with Sky is because I would argue neither one of us are jazz musicians. And when I think of jazz, I just think of a very specific feel that I get from certain music. Now, if I talk to somebody, maybe Erwin, for example, Erwin could probably tell me, like, oh, it's because, there's a lot of sevenths. And there's like a ninth. Oh man, there's never a flat five in like classical music. That's jazz, baby, all the way. Like, I'm sure there's like technical terms for why jazz feels a certain way, whether or not I'm playing a jazz standard. To me personally, because I know I could play something like Cold, or I could play something, and somebody would that I made, like I could play Winter Heart, for example, or Love Letters, or Union Station, or 70 to Downtown, and somebody would go like, "Oh, I like these chords," but they'd be like, "That's not jazz. That's just throwing random chords together. That doesn't make it jazz." So I don't want to get into a gatekeepy elitist conversation about what jazz is or is not, but I do feel like if we're making two categories where one is jazz and one is classical music, my music tends to fall more on the jazz side of things than the classical side of things. Even though we have a lot of like weird subgenres, right? Like when I'm playing over and under. If somebody had to put that, if you stream had to put it in, if there was a hard line right here, and you had to go over and under as classical music or over and under as jazz, where do you put it? Do you put it in classical music because it's a waltz, and there's a lot of waltz music that are very classical? I don't know. You all, just off of your own knowledge, your own feel of that song, where would you put it if those were the only two categories that you would put music in? I have not heard of New York Rush or NY Rush, Erwin. I have a question. What was behind Signals? Or were you just putting out some tunes? What was behind Signals? That's a good question. I need some clarification though. What do you mean? What was behind it? Ooh, wow. Why does that sound Zelda-esque? Why does that sound? Why is just adding to it? Because this to me does not sound in any way Zelda-esque to me, but this does sound Zelda-esque to me. Very weird. Anyways, the motivation behind Signals, I would guess. Oh, what was the motivation? Yeah, was there like a story? There's always a story around. There's always a story. There's a lot of things behind Signals. I'm going to do a quick overview, though, and hopefully one of the answers I give will suffice. So first of all, Signals is filled with references to downtown Los Angeles. For example, the song 78 to Downtown is the name of a metro line that goes to downtown, and the da-da-da-da is a sound that plays on the metro there. I just put chords around it. Moved it around, but that is from the metro line. It's a chime from the bus. So yes, that's one thing that we could do, right? Love Letters is the name of a tattoo shop in downtown. Union Station is the name of the train station in downtown. Spring Street is the name of one of the streets in downtown that has a lot of dog parks on it. All of the songs off of signals are references to downtown because I was spending a lot of time in downtown Los Angeles at the time. I was writing a lot of music down there. I was eating down there. It was during my daily commute to get to and from work. I had to pass through downtown every day because the way LA is set up is downtown is like this hub, and if you're trying to get from literally like okay, here's downtown LA. If you're trying to get from um, East L wait swap this for so it's mirrored for you guys. So this is downtown LA. If you're trying to get from East LA, like Southeast LA to Northeast LA, you have to take a line into downtown and then another line out. You have to do this really weird like in out shape. And I lived in East LA and I worked up here in Burbank. And instead of being able to just take a line straight there, I had to take a line that went down into downtown and then up and into Burbank. It's just the way the metro is situated in Los Angeles if you live in any proximity to downtown. So I was just spending a lot of time down there, and I was being very inspired just walking around downtown LA, especially if you come from a not so urban background like me. And when I mean urban, I mean I had an urban background, but I mean like big buildings, subways, and stuff like that is not something I grew up with. That was new to me moving here. So it was a pretty big influence on the titles of those songs. As far as the composition of those songs, the story behind the composition of those songs around, some of those songs are old, some of those songs are new. Songs like Spring Street are pretty old. Songs like Love Letters, veritably new. But the thing that they all had in common is when I went to a public piano, maybe at the train station, maybe at a bookstore, maybe at a coffee shop, I would sit down and I would play like Winter Heart, or I would play any of my other like piano compositions. But then when those people would go like, "Wow, you're really good," or "This is a good song. Do you have any music out, CDs, or Spotify?" And I'd go, "Oh yeah, it's Omniboy on Spotify." And then they would type Omniboy on Spotify, and like Bon Bon would play, or Amnesia would play, or Twinkle Bang Bang would play, or you know, some like really hyperactive, poppy, fast electronic music would play. And I'm sure a lot of those people would think, well, that's weird. I can't find that piano song he was playing. What I like is the piano thing. I hate electronic music. And I just found this really cool pianist, and then he directed me to an entire discography of music that didn't sound like what he was playing on the piano. So what I told the stream, because I was streaming while I was working on Signals, is I was like, okay, I'm going to release these songs that I play in the stream. And I think most people won't like them. Like most Omniboy fans will be like, this is weird. I can't listen to this in the club. I can't listen to this. This is like weird. Too acoustic for me. I think for a lot of people it was jarring. But I made that for people that saw me as a pianist. A lot of people, not most of my fans, but there are a lot of people that see me primarily as a piano player and don't necessarily see me as a producer or a touring performer. And I was like, to cater to those people, I will make a small EP release that is just my piano compositions. So that is the story behind the composition of Signals. That covers the titling and the composition and the releasing platform. As far as the art, I mean, I just hit up a Drillix and I let her go hamburger on it. I was like, the name of the EP is Signals, you do you. And then she came up with that art, and I kept that. I'm not exactly sure what else I could do to explain that release. I don't play it live. Very important to note, if you do come pay to see me at a show, first of all, I always appreciate when people come out, but I feel like I need to be a little transparent. You're not going to hear Spring Street if you come see me live. It's just probably not going to happen. The only way you're hearing Spring Street live is if you come into a stream, or if you want to hear it in person, you're going to have to catch me at like a coffee shop or something, or if I do one of my... I had like 2 acoustic sets in my entire life, and I did play Spring Street at them. Maybe, you know, if you manage to come to those, but I don't really tour my acoustic set. I only play them here in Los Angeles, so... Yeah, hopefully that answers the story. Answers the question. What a long answer. Waltz is like a subgenre of jazz, right? Says Umbe. I'm so glad Umbe said that, because technically yes, but also waltz is classical music. There's a lot of classical waltzes that predate jazz by tons of years. I don't want to just throw out a random number because I haven't researched this, but I want to say hundreds of years waltz existed before jazz did, right? So if I'm playing a waltzy song, even if I'm playing it in a jazzy way, does it fall on the classical side or does it fall on the jazz side for you personally? Omni, the next few weeks is cloudless. If you aren't busy, would you mind me hitting you up once in a while and see if you want to play some games on PS4? Maybe. Gonna be pretty busy the next few weeks, but you can anybody can always hit me up if they want to play something. Whether I'm able to actually do so is like always, at the moment. But yeah, I mean, yeah, sure, why not? I don't see why not. Why not? The little trill is what they use when you pick up loot in Zelda. This. Why is that? It's in one of the Ocarina of Time tracks. Just that cadence. I don't know what you want to call it. That line, that 3-note line. Yeah, it's just that. I think in a different game. Whatever. Anyways, doesn't really matter. Those are signals trying to send out. Heck yeah, baby. Always trying to send out signals. The good kind, though. The good kind. Good vibes, good sigs. Sigs? I'd talk to Spring Street if you did it live, says Umbe. I appreciate that. I love your energy. I love your energy. Maybe you'll make like a danceable version, like a housey version of Spring Street. Spotify looking at you like a loser cow, but you're releasing that an EP because someone didn't find your great piano tunes. I mean, yeah, that doesn't make me not a loser. That just makes me a hardworking loser. I felt so guilty around. I felt so guilty when somebody was just like, "You have music, right?" And I didn't want to lie to them. And I was like, "Yeah." They're like, "Where can I find it?" And I'm like, "Spotify, anywhere really, SoundCloud, Bandcamp, iTunes." And I was like, "Okay." And then I see them look me up on their phone, and then like I see the art for like Bon Bon come up in there. It's like, "Oh, there you are. All right, goodbye. Have a good day, sir. I'm gonna go and listen to this. That was some beautiful piano playing." And I'm just like, "Oh no." They're gonna hear Bon Bon. They're gonna be so confused, especially when the bridge comes up. They're gonna be like, "What the heck? This can't be the right Omni Boy." And so yeah, I made signals for that. But signals has kind of been buried in a lot of my work, so people just kind of have to know what to look for, Waltz is certainly more jazz to me, says Umbe. I've always seen jazz as a concept. Ooh. Umbe's getting deep. All right, I always seen jazz as a concept, a genre that's not strictly following many rules. Trying to define it feels dirty. Do you know who dirty loops are? Now that's jazz. Anywho, yeah, jazz. I think of jazz as a feeling. I think of jazz as always having to be E after it, right? Calling something jazz is usually when I'm referring to, um, if I'm talking about John Coltrane, Thelonious Monk, if I'm talking about Miles Davis, if I'm talking about Herbie Hancock, I'm like, this is jazz because it's easy. But if I'm listening to something like Lewis Cole, or I'm listening to Thundercat, or I'm listening to any other Brainfeeder artist, or I'm listening to Igloo Goose, or I'm listening to Dorian Concept, or I'm listening to some Flying Lotus tracks, or I'm listening to some Daedalus tracks, I kind of always want to go, well, this is jazzy. And it's usually when the chords come in. It's not when like the rhythm is there all the time. It's usually when like anybody can play like anything. What do I have? What do I have on here? I feel like I always hit a button on accident and it starts playing drums, but I don't know how to make that happen on purpose. Well, that's not it, I guess. I guess I don't know how to. Um, Let me read. I know how to read. I learned English. Okay. I do know English. Don't just hit random buttons. How does it? You've been in here when it just plays drums, right? Like, what the heck? What is that when it does that? Hold on, guys. This is very important to me. I don't want to let this go. Okay, so there, like, you can put any drum beat on, but if like, and somebody will go like, this doesn't sound like jazz, but then if the, sorry, freaked out for a second. But if the chords that I play over it sound inherently jazzy, if I put like jazzy chords over it, it can sound like somebody can go like, oh, this is jazz E. But if I didn't play those chords over it, if I played like, I don't know, Seven Nation Army by the White Stripes over that drum beat, it wouldn't sound like jazz. So there are a lot of artists today, myself included, where usually when somebody's like, what kind of music do you make? I'm like, it's jazzy. And when I say jazzy, what I mean is my chord selection, the harmonies that I'm choosing. Because I've never heard somebody play a classical song that sounded like that. But I'm sure there's jazz songs that do that. Even when I'm playing my when I'm playing all those things, they feel inherently jazzy because they're being informed by bossa nova and Brazilian, Central and South American jazz music. I'm using a lot of the rhythms and chord extensions that they use, so it sounds jazz-y. But but just referring to music as jazz sometimes doesn't feel right. Bossa nova is not just jazz; it's more than that, but it is jazz-y. So I would agree with Umbe on this. Sometimes just calling something jazz or not jazz is hard, but a lot of things, especially with you referring to jazz as a concept, me referring to jazz as a feeling, it's hard, right? It's hard. Oh, now it's drum and bass. See? Context matters. How's that works like? That's Midnight Drift 3. Midnight Drift 3. You just make a drum beat fast enough, it turns into drum and bass. Anyways, Jazz E. I prefer Jazz B. Ooh, those are both notes on the keyboard, I believe. Um, yeah, I've never used the drums, Cyber. See, that's what I mean, guys. This keyboard can do so much. It has a workstation in it where you can like record things that I haven't used since my last entry to the Tiny Desk contest. But typically, I will buy something or obtain something, and I will use 10% of its capabilities. And then about a year into ownership of it, I'll use 20%. And then about 10 years into it, I'll use 50%. I never really use all the things the thing can do. For example, my Microkorg S, I mostly just use it for vocoding and bass lines. It can do so many cooler things than that. It can do like ARPs in it, but I don't do it. I don't use it for that. Us going through sounds on this keyboard has been very fun for me, and also funny because there's just a lot of things I didn't realize the keyboard had. What is 238, by the way? Oh, okay, so 238 sounds like trash. Question, what is jazz, says Erwin? Seems like such an easy question, but then even us jazz musicians don't even know how to answer it, right? Right, Erwin? Makes me feel good, though. Makes me feel good. Because there's so many jazz musicians that tell me I'm not jazz. Because I don't know what a Coltrane change is. I don't know what a Coltrane change is. Who cares? Rest in peace, John Coltrane. I want more drum presets improv in the future stream, says Umbe. Thank you. I will put that in the suggestion box. One of the things I don't like about the drums and these keyboards is they're very loud. And there's no way to automate the volume between the drums and the patch you're playing. Drums? Oh. drums to be that loud. I would like the drums to be a little bit quieter underneath the sound, the voice that I'm playing, but it just doesn't work out that way, does it? Word of Erwin. What are omni changes? Ooh. Wow, what an ego-driven thing. I'm gonna make my own change. How about that? I make my own change called omni changes. Ooh. I'm actually going to do that. I mean, that's probably already a thing. What's something that I do very often in my songs, guys? You've heard 2 of my songs. Sounds like a banjo. What? Wait, I don't know how to play that song. Let me know. What? What? I gotta end the stream. Well, yeah, we're over 2 hours. I've completely lost the thread of whatever I was trying to do. I don't know how many changes, but I do know I can solo over, it says Erwin. Ooh, a talent. What are modes, Erwin? Have you ever tried, like, getting a 1 beat and making as many songs from that 1 beat or drum as you can? Not songs, like 30-second tunes. Have you heard Lush Dream? Very uninventive beats in Lush Dream. In fact, there are several songs that use the same exact drum pattern. This was done intentionally. I was trying so hard, and I admit I got a little bit upset. So, here's a quick anecdote. I released Lush Dream as an extreme exercise in restraint. Those of you that are familiar with my work know that I put a lot of layers into my work. A lot of drums, a lot of birds chirping, dogs barking, cyber talking, strings stringing? Strumming? Anybody want to help me on this? What's that called? It's not strumming. Anyways, I'll come back to that. But there's a lot of things that are going into my songs, right? And Lush Dream was like me trying to go, okay, I'm going to actively, intentionally chill on composition and performance. I want to not overthink it. I just want to come up with an idea that is good for this song, and then I want to literally leave it. I want to come up with a like. And then that's the whole song. And then maybe I have a little solo. I want to do something like that. And then that's the song. The song is finished. And it does that for 3 minutes, and then you guys can listen to it while you're doing homework, and I can go to bed or something. I want to make music like that. Because typically, when I make a cool chord progression, after about 3 measures of that, I'm like, needs to change the chord progression, and then after that, I'm like, need to change the drums, need to change the bass line, now I'll have a solo here, and then the orchestra will come in, but then the orchestra fades away, and it's jazzy all of a sudden. Then 3 dogs bark over here, 3 birds chirp over there, and then a random voice that I sampled from an episode of Jimmy Fallon says, Spaghetti Monster, and then after that, the BPM shifts slightly from 125 to 129. Hope people notice. I would do a lot of that stuff in music, which is great and fun. But I wanted to practice restraint by extremely limiting myself. So Lush Dream is filled with that. Only 2 chords sometimes. Only 3 layers sometimes. Only 4 samples to build a drum. I have a kick, I have a snare, I have a hi-hat, and I have a ride cymbal. That's it. And I was like, can I make a song that I like out of this? Can I make a song that isn't trying so hard to break boundaries? I think there are a lot of times when I'm going to perceive media that it doesn't have to be groundbreaking, right? Not every movie I see has to be pushing the envelope. Not every meal I eat has to be avant garde. Sometimes I want something that's just basic and good. Sometimes I want to wear pants that are just black skinny jeans. There's no roses on them, there's no embroidery, there's no gold stitching. It's just a pair of black skinny jeans. I can buy them in bulk, I can wear them every day. I want just basic stuff, and I think about music, and sometimes music can be that too. Sometimes music can be good, and it doesn't have to be weird or challenging or intentionally engaging. It doesn't have to constantly have to take the listener on this great story, and that's a very um, divisive thought to have, because there are a lot of artists that feel like art always needs to say something profound. And I think that if all art says something profound, then those things become unprofound, if that makes sense. If all of your art that you create is so groundbreaking, then your art is defined by breaking ground and nothing else at that point. And that's not good, in my opinion. That's not good. It steals away from the groundbreaking. If you expect everything to be groundbreaking, if I constantly expect every hot sauce to have a certain effect on my body, then really good tasting hot sauces that just aren't spicy enough to give me that kick, they're like, I see them as weaker hot sauces, even though they taste amazing. So, point that I'm making is Lush Dream was an extreme exercise and restraint. I was like, I'm not trying to push the envelope. I'm not trying to break ground. I'm just trying to make music that I listen to and go, yeah, this is chill. This is nice. This is a good idea. This is a good progression, a good melody, or whatever. And I put out 30 plus of those songs in one mixtape. But the exercise you're talking about, Rim, of like making several ideas around the same drum beat. First of all, yes, that is one of restraint, and I did that in Less Dream. And two, I actually do that in the production streams. In the production streams, I'll often have like a song section that I'm making, and I'm like, no. And then I export and I start sampling it and like playing it backwards and chopping it up to make a new idea on the same drum beat. A lot of times I'll do that, and then sometimes I'll just end up deleting a whole section after I get something that I like. Hey, SZ, welcome to the stream if you are indeed still here. I want to make a song where I don't actually do anything with chords. I just go. Ugh. Umbe. As somebody that relies so heavily on harmony, I have tried to do that a lot. I have a song called, what's it called? Cookie Pouch? And it's like, it's got this voice in it. Boom, 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 boom. It's just a bass line it hits four notes, but it's really hitting. It's only hitting three notes. It's just hitting them 6 times. So it just repeats that over and over. While there's weird stuff happening around, like a lot of like risers and like cool like drum. It's just solid. And in the hook, I do add some chords and melody and whatever and harmony. But that was a task for me. Also, if you listen to Shoto Clone, Shoto Clone exists for quite a while before actual harmony takes place. The actual drop or energy or hook of the song comes over halfway through the song. The whole like quarter circle, like that bit, the part with the actual chords, it comes very late. And delaying those chords were one, a huge challenge to me, because I love chords and harmony so much that when they are absent from a song, the song feels incomplete to me. In the same way that a lot of people feel like a song without lyrics isn't a song. There's so many people that are like, I refuse to listen to instrumental music because it doesn't feel complete. I feel them. We're all different. For me, with a song without chords didn't feel complete. So challenging myself to make songs, at least delaying the chord introduction or the harmony of the song, was one, a challenge, and two, a very, very strong tool that you can use. I talked about the song, the Phil Collins, the very popular tom roll, and why that tom roll has so much impact is because for the first 2 minutes of the song, there are zero drums. There's no percussion. So when they finally do come in, it has a huge impact. When the chords for a Shoda clone comes in, it feels big, even though it really is only piano. It's just piano hitting the chords exactly like that. There's no frills, there's no cool arps or flourishes on it. It's just those chords. But when they come in, it feels big because they have been delayed. The act of delaying things can increase their impact. Anyways, Rem says, I don't know much about music. Neither do I, Rem. You're in good company here. Rem continues to say, but I notice when an artist hits bars, and starts singing for an extended period of time, you like lower the BPM or speed it up, and it feels like it's faster and quieter. Only on your remixes, though. Hold on. When an artist hits bars or starts singing for an extended period of time, you lower the BPM or speed it up, and it feels like it's faster or quieter. What? What are you talking about exactly, Rem? Everyone says, I think I did it. I finally made my sax sound almost like a human voice. Ooh! That's why I like to hear Erwin. One of the most beautiful things to me about woodwinds is their almost human quality and like the texture of the sound. Which is why when I do like scoring for stuff, like if I'm scoring for a game or whatever, it's like kind of nice to have oboes, saxophones. I'm particularly a fan of oboe, English horn, flute. Like those three together, they have this very like human quality to them that brings like their arrangements to life a little bit more than if I just played it on the piano. Sounds like someone. I mean, human voices are the thing we hear the most of, and so it does get a specific reaction out of people when they hear woodwinds played with skill, you know. Okay, yeah, Shoto Clone says Umbe is kind of like that. Probably my favorite part of it, to be honest. It subverts your expectations for a long time. Yeah, that's not only hard. It's not only a challenge for the listener, Umbe, but it's a challenge for me. Umbe, because of the world and the context that a lot of our music lives in, when I'm making a song and I see the little Fruit Loops thing say 3 minutes, 50 seconds, I start to feel bad. I start to go like, oh, I need to wrap it up because nobody's going to want to listen to a 4-minute song. And this is more so like a psychological block that I have geared and fostered by like the music industry and Billboard charts and stuff like that. But it is real. Challenging your listeners can be good. You have to have a balance there. And challenging yourself as an artist can be good, but it also requires balance. And I think making a song where the chords don't come in until late is very difficult for me. In fact, I've only done it in Shoto Clone and in Cookie Pouch, which is unreleased, and I mean, I think that might be it, honestly. Okay, Rem says, for example, thank you, Rem. Rem's coming in hot with examples. For example, on Taco Go, Money Talks. Oh, actually, everything that has been someone's voice. The song behind the voice slows down. Is there a reason? Rem, are you saying that the song is fast, and then when someone starts singing, the song slows down? Is that what you're saying? 4 to 6 minutes in the danger zone. Yes, we are in. Hold on. 4 to 6 minutes. It's the danger zone, by the way, Umbe. You're absolutely right. I'm gonna do something because Rem is talking. Rem is talking shop. I'm gonna go over here, and I'm gonna. I'm gonna pull up Taco Bell. I'm gonna pull up Taco Bell.
What is that song actually called? What is that video actually called? It's just called What That Spell? Omni, you gotta do better. Anyways, okay. Wow, why does that video have so many views? For me, that's weird. Okay, Rem is saying that the music slows down when Tisa starts bars. Oh, are you saying? Hold on, Rem. Are you saying that this part of the song? This is actually going to be very fun. Are you saying that this part of the song? Are you saying this part of the song is fast? And then you're saying this part of the song is slow? Oh my god, that's funny. Okay, so you bring up such an interesting. Oh, wow, I'm so glad you said that. So, first of all, it is not. The BPM of my songs, especially my remixes, never changed because if the BPM of the song changed, I would have to automate the BPM of the vocals, which would therefore warp them. And I don't want to warp somebody's vocals. I want to keep them in the most pristine quality I can if I'm making a remix. So there actually is not a speed change. What happens in my songs, Rem, especially in hip hop songs, think about a hip hop beat. Think about a hip hop beat. Think about Money Talks. Think about any Tisa Korean song. Think about Bad and Bougie. Think about Lil Pump's Gucci Gang. Think about all of these songs that are rap songs. And I want you to remove mentally the vocals and think about what the instrumental sounds like. The instrumental does not change for the bridge. It doesn't change for the hook. It doesn't change for the intro or the outro. It is a solid 4-bar beat that loops incessantly until the song is over. The thing that is driving the shift in music is always the rapper. The rapper's vocal and lyrical content is telling you, the listener, oh, we are in the hook now. Even in like a Kendrick song, it'll be like, oh, this is the hook because I heard him say this earlier. But usually the beat itself doesn't actually change. So, if I'm going to be making a remix of these songs, I could sit at my keyboard and go. I could do that for like 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes. And it would be fine. It would be just as dynamic as the hip hop beat that I'm remixing. However, for me as an artist, it would be boring to play the same thing over and over. So usually I will add shifts in the song. Usually. There have been some examples where I kept the same chord progression, but I changed the dynamics around it. For this one, I actually ended up changing the chord progression to go from. And then I return to the initial chord progression. Now the song is not slowing down or speeding up, but what is happening is I'm playing a percussive trick. There's a few percussive tricks. I probably shouldn't use the word trick because that implies that there's some type of like dishonesty or deception. I'm calling it a trick because it's in essence deceptive. If you take the percussion out of a song, if I have like a house beat on the song, right? I'm going, just take out the drums and I go, the song actually isn't slower, but for a lot of people, it'll sound slower because the beat is gone, and they were relying on that beat to keep time. And if you take out the beat, people now won't no longer have a sense of time, and things feel delayed and spaced out weird. So that's one thing that's happening around. Usually, I will shift drum patterns. There's so many great examples of this in my production stream where I do double time to halftime. A lot of people will have full time to halftime or halftime to full time. A lot of times I'll go double time to halftime, which makes a song feel wildly slower for things like bridges. If you think about a song like Thumper, if you've heard Thumper before, if you think about a song like Cold, the song that we were just talking about, right? The song with Zuri Sky on it. When I get to the bridge of that song, the drum rhythm changes from being a drum and bass beat to a more swing-based ride cymbal focused jazzy beat. So, is the BPM changing? Is the speed changing? No, not at all. Is the articulations of the drums, the programming, and the rhythm changing? Yes, slightly. And it forces you to change modes. What I want you to think about, Rem, I don't know if you dance. I don't know if you do any formal ballroom dancing, but I was trained in salsa dancing and swing dancing simultaneously. And a lot of salsa and swing actually have the same BPM. It's really weird to think about because they come from two very different dance cultures, but a lot of those songs have the same or very similar BPMs. But the dances feel very different when it comes to speed. Salsa, to me, and a lot of people will always feel faster than swing dancing. And it's because salsa works on a 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2, and swing dancing works on a 1 2 3 1 2 3. So having that 3 in there makes it feel faster. But if I go 1 2 1 2 1 2 or 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3, I'm actually at the same speed. I'm clapping at the same speed, but adding in that extra third step makes swing dancing feel way easier because you're having a lot more time to anticipate and plan your moves that you're doing in swing dancing. Whereas salsa is way more like you have to think fast if you're doing things in salsa dancing. I feel like, I did say I was going to end it, but this was a good question. Um, I I never slow it down though, Rem. But I'm glad that you asked that question because it just proves that that technique does work on the human brain in a very specific way. It sounds like I'm slowing down. Now, a lot of times, think about relativity in music. Before, I don't know if you were in here. Were you in here when Crow was like, yo, the beat on Amnesia is whack, but the lyrics are sick? When Crow said that, I went on a whole thing about why that was intentional and why making people believe that is actually kind of a mind trick. You can make people think certain things, right? Like you can make people think in a restaurant, you can make them think that something actually tastes better than something else by making it slightly sweeter. A lot of people really like for things to be sweet. So if you have one thing that isn't sweetened and another thing that is sweetened, they'll go, well, this one's better. And they're really making decisions off of like corn syrup or just straight up cane sugar added to things. In music, you can shift a lot of people to thinking things are bad or things are good. There was there was a song that came out recently where it was Eminem and Kid Cudi. It was a collab between them, and they didn't even go back and forth. It was like one person had a whole family of bars, and then the other rapper came in and did a family of bars. And it was very difficult having Eminem rap next to Kid Cudi because we all know their styles are very different. Eminem is very rapid, lots of wordplay, lots of metaphors, weird rhyming schemes, the speed and everything. And then Kid Cudi comes on and does what Kid Cudi does. And they're both very good at what they do. But having the two next to each other, it could easily look like, dang, like Eminem like ate Kid Cudi on this beat. Like this should not have been allowed to happen. Like he killed it. And Kid Cudi kind of came in and hummed for 4 minutes. I think that it's really easy to shift focus. We were talking about drawing the eyes here, drawing the ears here. And Rem, a a lot of times when people start singing in a song, if I'm doing a lot of like wild stuff with chords, like I'm like jumping all over the place, and then the vocals come in, I let the vocals kind of back up to give the, I mean, I let my music back up to give the vocals room to breathe. And when that happens, you as the listener, especially if you're familiar with the song, right? You've already heard Gucci Gang a million times. You've already heard Bad and Bougie a million times. You've heard WAP by Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion a million times. You know how the lyrics are, so you're listening and focusing on the music. And if you hear my music recede or get quieter, you'll notice it. But most people, Ram, are listening to the song as a one finished pie and actually don't notice when my music recedes or when it does get quieter. I do automate volume to make space for the vocals. It makes sense. A lot of producers do this because you, as the listener, might want to hear the vocals. You know, you might want to hear what people are saying over the music, and so a lot of times I will make my music get quieter. That you are not imagining. I will let my music sit beneath the vocals when the vocals come in. Um, yeah. It's all about setting a picture and trying to direct ears. If you imagine it like an actual painting, there are certain things that painters will do. A lot of painters will paint something in focus and then paint a lot of other things around it blurry so that you look at the thing they want you to look at. They're saying, I want you to focus on this woman here. She's in focus. Everything else is really blurry. Doesn't matter. Look at this woman. A lot of times in music, I will do that to vocals where I'll go, here, I want you guys to look at this. Or if there's a dog bark in the beat and I really want you to hear it, I will look up and down the playlist of all of the sounds that are playing at the same time as the dog bark, and I just erase them all. So that the way the song sounds is it's like a bunch of song and then literally silence for like an eighth of a second for a dog bark, and then it all goes away. But yeah, you get it. You get it. Anywho, I think I answered that. Yes, this is fair, Ram. This is fair. You bring up good points. You bring up very good points. But I think I answered that. I think I answered everything. Guys, I have a EP out called Signals. It's jazzy. It has love letters on it. I have another EP called Beneath the City. It's experimental. It has Beneath the City on it. It's called Tall Tales. It has Beneath the City on it. I also have an EP called House of Omni. It has a lot of collaborative pieces on it. This one's called Embrace. I also have the Dream series. Nice Dream is like indie pop. Love Dream is also indie pop, but it's love songs. Speed Dream is a short story that I wrote and did the score for. Daydream is orchestral break beats and drum and bass. Lush Dream is more chill, like laid back beats. Ego Death is super ambient, and Quick Breath is super house pop vibe stuff. I also have some quarantines, but before I get to that, all of those things that I have can be heard on SoundCloud, Bandcamp, Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, Google Play, Amazon MP3, Tidal, Group, Deezer, Pandora, Napster, and YouTube. On YouTube, I have Quarantines, which we did talk about briefly in the stream. I was trying to relearn the chords to Dreams Come True. Wait, how does it start? I don't remember how it starts. I'll learn it in a future stream. Maybe I'll learn it in the next production stream. I think that covers it. As far as like what we're gonna do, guys, I think I am gonna go with the week break. But I'll come up with some type of supplementary thing, right? So for the next streams, tomorrow is going to actually be the last stream of the week. And then I'll be back here next week to do the production stream. But I'll have a more solid plan to share with you guys in tomorrow's stream, because because I ended up spending way more time answering very good questions for him and company than I thought I would. Also, it's getting kind of hot in my room, and this shirt, it feels like I'm wearing tidy whities on my body, on my like torso. I can't do it anymore, guys. I'm also very hungry. I hope everybody enjoys the rest of their Wednesday. Thank you always, guys, for being respectful and being polite to each other. It was nice to see Badlands back in here. It was nice to see you, Ren, back in here. Thank you for being so participative. I always say participative. I'm not exactly sure if that's a word. Thanks for participating in the chat. I do appreciate it. I hope I answered the questions accurately. Have a well-balanced Wednesdays. Leanna wants us to do. We will. I'll have a balanced diet. That'll be my version of having a balanced Wednesday. Participatory? Thanks for being so participatory. Participatory. Ah, God, what an ugly word. Yeah, but that is right, Cyber. You're right. All right, guys. I will see you tomorrow for the final stream of this week. Morning medley number 239. Maybe I'll try to make it a long one to supplement. If people are in here and people are feeling it, I'll make it a longer one. If not, we'll end at 11. We'll end promptly. But I hope everybody enjoys the rest of their Wednesday. I'm gonna go get to work. Abo, everybody.